Black Clover. This is Black Clover, chapter 268, Devil. Last we left off, Asta was like, even though you're a devil, you're a good guy. And we now descend into our flashback, where we see the demon world for the first time. Apparently there is a pecking order established in the demon world, where if you have, the weaker you are, the more they just beat the shit out of you all day, every day. If you're weak, if you have no magic, they'll just beat you up for fun. It's a real shitty place, but just because they're devils doesn't mean that they're necessarily bad people. So
yeah,
and this devil in particular has been is the very bottom of the rung because he has no magic. So one day these demons were just fucking with him, and they just threw him at the gate that separates them between the human world and their world. Devils with magic can't get through it. So they assumed that he couldn't either somehow, and they just chucked him over just to see if he would just be smashed to pieces. But he didn't. Upon making contact to the wall, he ended up in the human world. And he was also not accepted there. So, obviously, he's a devil, so everybody's like, a devil, ew! And they beat his ass, and he was just left for dead in the middle of the forest when he wakes up, bandaged up, in the home of Lasita, who is Asta's mom.
Asta's grandmother.
A grandmother? You think?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Josh.
I think that was a couple generations back. Just a couple.
No. So apparently Lasita's deal is that her magic is that she can drain mana and life from people. So because she doesn't seem to be able to control when to turn this power off, she pretty much lives by herself outside of the village. Nobody wants to be near her.
So she's like rogue.
Yeah, she's essentially rogue. And the demon doesn't have any magic, so there's nothing to siphon off of him. Because he's a devil, it seems like she can't take his life. So she's like, hey, why don't you stay with me, and I'll raise you as my son. And
yeah,
we get these panels.
My seed.
We see the time pass. They're hanging out. He's raising the kid, and we get the little panel where she calls him not a bad guy, and she gives him a name. His name is Liebe. She's like, thanks, Liebe, and that's when Liebe starts to shake because he's being possessed by Lucifero, as far as we know, the strongest devil in the series to this point. I guess main boss. Yeah. He's been looking for this kid, and he finally found him. He's like, whoa, I never believed that I'd see a devil in the human world without making a contract. So he's like, what a fine, I'll use him to manifest my own body. He's trying to use Liebe to, walk amongst the humans. And that's when Lasita just grabs onto him, and he's like, get away from Liebe. And she starts to drain his magic because that's just her default power. So as she's draining his energy, she gets there's one panel where she leaves a basket behind in the church, and I think that's supposed to be Asta, obviously. Which is very interesting, because obviously she gave Asta away because her powers would probably kill him.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so that's definitely his mom. Wow.
Also, she could be the reason he has no magic. Because she drained it all away.
Realized that.
Oh, wow. Because she absorbed it all from him.
So yeah, and she recalls that moment, and she obviously expresses regret for, because she had no choice, but she wished she didn't have to. So she's like, this time I'm not letting go. And that's when Lucifero just impales her with his hand. And she's still holding
How could I have not put two and two together? Whoa.
Yeah. She gets impaled, but she's still not letting go, and she eventually drains all of Lucifero's power, which causes him to disperse. And she dies, but her last act is basically sealing his magic into the 5 Clover grimoire that would eventually go to Asta. And now we cut back to the present time as Liebe is thinking back on that. Is like, I will never forgive them.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, I will steal your body to kill every devil out there. And that's when the chapter ends.
So Asta, this devil is
RGC.
Asta's stepbrother.
Yeah.
Yes. Kinda. That's his.
Sure.
That's his bro.
This is Josh's really good issue. Really good chapter.
Certified RGC. Certified RGC. Certified RGC.
I'll tell you what.
Wow.
I don't think it's quite mine, but it is dangerously close. I really enjoyed this chapter.
Makes sense.
It's funny. I think like the one problem with and it's kind of like a double-edged sword with Tabata, the artist for Black Clover. He has a very direct and no bullshit style, and I probably, it goes both ways where it's good. Where I feel like this chapter, I wish there were more to this flashback. You know what I mean? Like, I wish we could have seen a little bit more and really developed this relationship. I get what he's trying to do because he's very much like no fat. Well, you get the idea.
Right. You get the idea.
Yeah.
They're brothers. The devil's good.
She raised him, and they
he's
have
cool
a
with the
strong
9 cell
bond.
fox now. It's good.
Yeah,
He conquered his hollow within.
I appreciate that sentiment because flashbacks are apparently the hardest thing to do in manga because they're either very long or very short. I don't think I've seen anybody who's really nailed it. Where like I finished a flashback that was like that was the perfect length. But I wish we could have gotten a little bit more detail here. Although I get the point, and it didn't really take away any points from me. And I guess it's actually a compliment to Tabata that I wanted to see more of this relationship. But yeah, this was a great chapter. Kudos to Black Clover. It doesn't really get that much praise from me often, but often enough, their flashback chapters really make me happy. So I'm very high on like their backstory.